I'm Shyboy616 and welcome to Sharks Week. Yes, it is finally here. And with me is my co-host, Like a Shark the Land Shark. Say hello. See, she's got authentic Shyboy616 trunks, the Sharks Week top, and is officially marked with the 616 brand. Now before we get started, let me explain just exactly what Sharks Week is. Sharks Week is a week dedicated to shark movies and the sharks within them. And in this week, I'm gonna bring to light several shark movies that you might have just seen just scrolling through streaming services or passed by them on the shelves at a Walmart or such. And I'm gonna tell you if any of them are worth watching. Now I know I just wanted to explain what all this was gonna be, but let's explain how this could even be something worth doing that had so much content that I can go over it for maybe several years if I feel like it or if y'all want me to. So why sharks? There's so many of these movies. You just go online, look up shark movie, or just go to any streaming site, just put the word shark, you're gonna get tons of things. Maybe a few documentaries, well not a few, a lot, but you're gonna get tons of movies, some of which kind of just have shark in the title. There's a few creative ones, but you're still gonna find them looking at these other shark movies. It all started with what's now considered a classic, not just in horror or the creature feature genre, but just as a cinematic classic itself. Hollywood legend Steven Spielberg suddenly came to light with the blockbuster hit Jaws. This is the OG shark movie, and it's also the one that kickstarted his career. He had done some other things before, but this is the first one to really put him front and center. So there's other monster movies before, but none of which felt real. The setting was just at any old beach and it got attacked by a man-eating shark. It just gave us this scenario of just a regular place being attacked by this beast, and the fear, the terror that comes with it. This movie was so big, it's what made the summer blockbuster a thing. After its success, of course, tons of people wanted to go out and make their own Jaws. Whether that was just another shark movie or another monster movie using a similar creature. Just normal animals now made to be terrifying. And the shark is a pretty good option. They're pretty big, they swim around, they got big shark teeth. You just know they're gonna take a huge chunk out of whatever they take a bite out of. None of these really ever seem to be as popular, but the concept of them and the familiarity, it just made it easy to keep making them and put them out. As you can see, there's still tons of these movies. Not much has really changed. The next big summer blockbuster involving a shark is The Meg 2. Which the first one, I mean, it was kind of a fun movie, so maybe I'll check that out too. With there being so many of these, there's some that are just utter garbage, maybe some hidden gems, and a few that's like, you know what, that's pretty cool, but none of which really seem to get to the same height of recognition as something like Jaws. What really set me off to go and do this was a certain DVD collection that I found, called the Mega Shark Collection. What you'll notice is a lot of the covers of shark movies tend to be blue and red, much like the Jaws poster. But a lot of that has just to do with the fact that it's in water and there's gonna be blood. But as you can see on this one, I think this must have followed off the Meg coming out because it's blue, it's got a megalodon right there, and they chose green for the font instead, and the fact that they just wanted to try to put Meg on there. Meg, shark. 8 movie collection, mind you. There's already 8 movies in this one case, so I will be starting off the week with the movies on this. I know that was quite the introduction, so let's get moving on. I will start each review by reading off the plot description on the case. Now, I was trying to pick movies that I can actually have physical copies of, but there's a few that I might have had to make some exceptions just because it was more accessible that way. A lot of these movies you can find on free streaming services like Tubi. Now the first movie to come ashore, Toxic Shark. A poisonous shark stalks a holiday resort. The beast not only rips apart its victims, it hurls projectile acid at them. No one on the island is safe, in or out of the ocean. I will say, like most of these, the poster or DVD cover in most cases tends to be better than how the movie actually looks. And as with a lot of these movies, we start off on the beach. Just a regular old day, hanging out, probably showing a bunch of girls in bikinis, a bunch of dudes in swim trunks, stuff like that. And of course, something goes horribly wrong, more than likely involving a shark. This one specifically begins with what I assume is a boyfriend and girlfriend going down the beach along the water in ATVs.
Watch this! Yeah! Oh!
So the way he crashes is ridiculously stupid. He just starts speeding towards the water and hits a log, I think, and flies off his ATV straight into the water. Weirdly enough, he doesn't seem to go very far in the water. The girl, she runs to the water and he's just missing, only for him to just emerge out of the water anyways, like he's fine. We just see them kind of get lost in the water, and then the shark comes at us, and that's the title screen. Which, unlike this, the title is green, because, you know, toxic, you're probably thinking of like green ooze or something, and that's exactly what this shark is going to use. And then we officially begin the main part of the movie, and I'm still unsure if this is supposed to be the same place that couple was at, or if this is like an island off the coast of where that was. Oh, this other description written in says it's off the coast of Puerto Rico. The tropical singles resort of the shady entrepreneur Reese becomes a pole of attraction to tanned young holiday makers and an unseen underwater menace. So we're introduced to two different groups, a group of men and a group of women. Or since we're on vacation, the girls and the boys. Clearly the one in the middle is going to be the main dude, because, you know, he was put in the middle. The guy on the left's going to be doing all the talking. The guy on the right, I haven't really figured what he's going to do. I figured as the scene goes on, he's probably just there for comedic relief, or he's going to be the expendable one that dies first. So they're going on this retreat, and the main guy doesn't seem that interested. His friend, however, is excited to be doing all this stuff on the island with a bunch of
Snorkels and girls.
And then the other friend, he thought this was just a fitness retreat, so apparently only one of them is horny. And now we find out the reason why they even brought him here is to get his mind off of his ex. Now we're introduced to the girls, who are pretty much here just for the same exact reason. I don't feel like going over it because honestly they're not as entertaining as the guys are, and I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Now that our main cast was introduced, our main survivors, if you will, we get to meet the owner of the island that's actually running the retreat.
Pass. Wait, so what's the problem? The problem is the numerous complaints by former guests reporting sudden illnesses after staying at your off-the-grid resort. BS.
He gets this whole talk to him from, I'm assuming, one of his employees or just an associate of his, telling him that he needs to keep testing the water because there's something wrong. So there's something going on in this island that's not being revealed to its guests. So right now we're just ping-ponging between the groups of friends and the owner and his employees.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
I know, it's totally okay. I'm so sorry. That's totally my fault.
And of course, the two friend groups that went to keep their buddy away from their ex, help them forget all about it, they bump into each other and find out they're on the island together, and they are not having it.
Did you follow me here?
Why the hell would I follow you here? I came here to get away from you.
Was it on purpose that they hired blondes to be the couple? Because they're also just the bitches. They're really annoying. They have this back and forth. I'm not leaving. Well, I'm not leaving. Like, you should. Like, they're doing that. And who cares? Like, there's all these people here. There's no reason they have to be anywhere near each other. And that's pretty much all we need to know about where these two stand, at least now. It's time to get things started, because this isn't just a vacation spot. It's a place where they're going to actually be doing some activities with this group of people that they just met. So it was just a speech introducing what exactly is going to be going down. We finally get back to the horror aspect of the movie with one of the, I'm just going to keep referring to them as employees. I don't know if he's supposed to be a lifeguard or what. He goes out into the water to do the testing, and then he senses something wrong in the water, but nothing actually happens.
Yeah. You know what? No.
They got this weird joke with the stupid friend where his shirt is too tight.
Yo, I don't think I can get this off.
And while they are both shirtless, they're still waiting for him to get his off, and he can't get it past here.
What's that? Oh, it's a shark band. I'm terrified of sharks.
Now from the girls' friend group, one of them went out into the water, and now her friends are watching her swimming out there, and then she starts screaming. Friends start playing it off, like, oh, she's faking it to get one of these guys to come on to her.
I don't think she's pretending.
We didn't really get to see how this happened, but it's going to be important for later. She gets taken to the med bay. Her friends go check on her, and the workers assure her that she's going to be fine. They'll figure out what happened. I'd like to point out we're about 30 minutes into this movie at this point, and not too much has happened involving the shark, at least not to the viewer's knowledge. Right after saying that, we're at another part of the beach for some reason. People are just playing in the water, and this is where something finally happens. The toxic shark gets sharking. That doesn't matter too much because not long after we get back to the workers that are checking out something else that went wrong, because of course everything's going wrong once they finally have people here. They're checking the phone line, their one line of connection back to the mainland.
Well, this isn't good.
It has been broken. They now have essentially no connection to anyone off of this island. And on their way back from checking this out, they find an arm.
That's one of our shirts.
Jeez!
Now we're checking once again on our lady friend that got hurt, and she's not looking too good. She's all bandaged up, but she collapses. She begins seizing, and they realize something's really wrong. Worse than just a scrape on the leg. The way this movie is doing its shark attacks, the whole point was that it was this resort, they're being forced to do things together, and of course the boyfriend girlfriend had to do something, so there's like tension, drama there, or whatever. But first off, who gives a crap? Second, we have this big group of people. Why do we keep seeing the shark attack these just tiny groups that are on their own? I mean, it's not bad what's actually happening, I guess. It's just, what was the point of making this huge group if we're not going to see it happen together? I'm assuming the island's supposed to be pretty small, so it's just weird that these little groups are getting so isolated that no one knows what's happening until they get to their part. The workers get into this whole thing with the owner, and he's telling them to just play off like everything's fine, even though that they know there's something wrong in the water. We're finally back to our main people all together playing a game of tug of war in the water. And during this game, the owner finally got convinced they need to tell people to get out and back onto the beach. Right as he's making this big announcement, the shark leaps out of the water and finally attacks in front of everyone's eyes. The shark spits its acid out of this weird little nozzle at the top of its head. The spray itself looks really goofy. I actually kind of like the shark design. The shark looks pretty cool. After spraying it, of course, eats even more of the people, and one of our guys still out there is Tight Shirt. He's gonna be expendable on that dice first. And this will perhaps be the greatest loss we have to endure in this film. I like how he's doesn't really look tangled in there at all during this. They see the shark go away, and now they don't really know what to do. The owner starts having a breakdown because he doesn't really know what to do now. Now he can't hide that there's something wrong now that they actually watch people get eaten and had to rush everyone out when this was supposed to be a fairly relaxing retreat with activities for people to enjoy. Now we're back to the girl in the med bay, and she's having more issues than before. She's like writhing around, just saying weird crap. The girl starts having an exorcist-light attack. I don't know what else to call it, and it's a reaction to the infection that they have. They just aren't sure what it is, and she's just rambling on, and apparently it's about stuff they didn't really do since they were kids, and so they have no idea what's going on with her. And her line delivery, I mean, I don't know, just listen to this bit, it's just kind of funny.
I get to be the lead dancer.
They decide to just try to take her out and see if they can get her somewhere where she can get some serious help. While they're trying to get everybody on the boat, she starts attacking our main dude. And the way she's acting is fairly zombie-like. And as they're freaking out trying to figure out what the hell went wrong, she of course just gets eaten. The owner is still on the boat. The girl's other friend, the not dead one, was still on the boat with him as he's trying to speed off away in the boat by himself. Of course, as he's trying to make his escape, the boat for some reason breaks down. And as he's trying to fix this, I think the funniest and dumbest death in the movie happens here. And then for some reason the motor, the engine's on fire, and then the boat just explodes. Like, there is no real reason that this happens, it just does. And it turns out she was able to get off, even though what we saw, she was still just sitting there panicking, but whatever. She survived, but she starts behaving strange too as they try to bring her back to their med bay. The other guy that got attacked by the last girl, he still has that bite mark on his arm, and he's just trying to fix it.
She's infected. It's not.
What infected that fast?
This is where they have their whole, we need to have a plan, let's gear up and take care of this and get everyone out of here.
Somehow he failed to say what exactly they came up with in their plan, so someone's checking out the phone line that we know is destroyed, and someone else is going to find and fix a boat so they can get out of there, at least some of them.
They get snorkels and spear guns, or harpoon guns, and this is what they plan to use to fight the shark. And for some reason, the people doing this are the people that actually work there, and then just a friend. They just got some guy to go help them out. So what they're doing is checking out the phone cable, and for some reason, They act like they didn't realize it was busted, even though it was very clearly broken when the part on the beach was separated from the rest of it. The shark comes back and is like, hey, get out. And of course, it gets one of them, taking his legs. The girl actually gets a shot on the shark. And then the guy that they just brought, that I'm sure never even at least held one of these things, he tries to take a shot and shoots her right in the leg. And she's just freaking out because she just got shot in the freaking leg with this harpoon. He's like, I'm so sorry, pulling her out. It's just so dumb. This just looks funny because they're just in, like, you know, the Walmart goggles that have the little nose cover, the snorkel, and then they're in the shallow part. Like, they're not very far in. It's got the intense music and everything. It comes off so goofy, but I can't help but at least be a little amused. Main girl, she goes to test things herself, try to figure out what's going on and why people are acting like this after getting, I guess, exposed to the shark. Our boy that got bit earlier starts acting weird, and they start making the connection that because she was infected, the bite transferred it, making this double as a zombie movie. And I'm pissed at this revelation coming nearly an hour into the hour-and-a-half runtime. If the idea of the shark infecting people is introduced maybe in the first half hour, that would have been better. What's funny is when this dude starts freaking out is he's not even acting like a zombie, really. He is acting more like the pissed off guy that's a little too up, you know? And he just starts fighting them and throwing them around like the old school monster people. I don't even know what to call that. They start fighting and he starts behaving more zombie-like. The other girl there ends up knocking him on the head, and that at least renders him unconscious. So the other girl that got infected, she's just gotten worse and is continuing her weird ramblings all by herself in the room. I feel like she's playing this better than the other people were. It's still silly and weird. I feel like the way she portrayed it was a lot more convincing.
Smells like a Mediterranean brothel all the time.
For some reason, their bright idea was to just tie him up back in the med bay where they see their friend from earlier is no longer there. And because we almost forgot about this, the other friend brings back the girl he shot with the harpoon. So we got another infected, one missing, and we had someone that got shot in the leg because the guy didn't know what he was doing. That's why he should not have been brought to do that task with a weapon. Ex-girlfriend was in the water getting her sample and everything, and she ends up getting attacked by the shark, only for ex-boyfriend to come save her. They kind of have a moment here, and I guess that's character development, even though I couldn't possibly care any less than I already do. Now that everyone's finally back, they were able to catch everyone up to speed, and ex-girlfriend finds out her friend is now missing. Luckily, she has an idea of where she could be. And for some reason, despite the two people in the medbay being there for completely different reasons, one an infected maniac, the other just horribly injured, they left them alone. So the guy gets free and bites the girl that was just injured. The girl figured out that there's something wrong with the water, and that's why the shark became toxic. The girls hatch up a plan to combat the shark once again. Hopefully this will be the one to do the trick.
The ionization of the salt water with these magnets will send out an electromagnetic pulse that will drive the shark crazy.
They finally find her friend, and I was right. They were trying to eat people.
Audra! Audra!
Like I said, I feel like they gave her the best stuff to say and do. I think she gave the best performance as far as the infected go. This is also where we find out there's even more infected. I wish they just did more of this. They could have had a lot going on. And these people running infected, they're all running different. Some of them are doing like a weird zombie shuffle. Some people are legit running. Like there's no consistency in what they are, and I kind of like how that looks. It's more interesting. Back with our boys out on the boat, and they found the shark. The girls get chased out to the beach after radioing to the guys to come get them. They're essentially getting chased off the island, being told go back the way you came or we will eat you. Now earlier, the friend, he actually ended up falling into the water and something happened. Turns out he got infected too. So while the exes are in the water trying to stop the shark, the girl left in the boat is being attacked. She actually gives a pretty good fight and knocks the guy out of the boat. Of course, he ends up being the one that gets eaten instead of the other two, so they're able to get back up into the boat. So the shark's on its way back, they got a flare gun loaded, they're gonna fight back. First shot misses, the shark hits the boat and knocks that other girl out. So she hands him the magnets to throw them into the shark or at the shark to see if we can get that reaction we're hoping for that'll send him away.
He actually nails the throw and it freaks out and swims away. It doesn't stay away for too long because it comes back and jumps onto the boat, destroying it, and they narrowly escape. They still got another chance because the other girl that fell off, she actually is still fine. She found another flare for them to shoot out of the gun. Ex-girlfriend takes the shot this time. Hopefully she succeeds.
Smile, you toxic son of a...
And it's a direct hit. This for some reason makes it shoot up straight into the air, blasting its venom, and it's just on fire. And I don't know if it was something to do with the magnets, something to do with the toxicity and all that venom, but the shark ends up just exploding, much like the inexplicable boat explosion from earlier. All three that were left, surprisingly, I really thought it was just gonna be the two X's were gonna be the only ones to make it back. They make it to land. And like I said, I expected only those two to make it, and I'm technically right. So the movie wasn't awful. I thought it was going to be bad, but I had hoped it would be like so bad it's good, or it's funny because of the execution or the idea, but it actually ended up being a pretty decent effort. The acting isn't awful, the pacing I think is exactly how it needed to be for what they had. I just wish it was written in a way that allowed for more action to happen, I guess. A lot of ideas in here. It's kind of fun, kind of still bad. So overall, I personally give it a 5 out of 10, which if you look on my Letterboxd, you see I consider a 4 or 5, or because Letterboxd says a 5-star system, 2 or 2.5 stars being a mediocre movie. I feel like it was made as well as it could have been. It still felt a little weak. You could feel its cheapness as well, but it's not the worst of that type. Critically though, I ended up giving it a 3 because of the movie didn't look amazing. It was very standard. The writing was kind of so-so, and the execution on some of the action sequences, like particularly the harpoon guns, I just thought looked too goofy. I feel like they could have done more because they had an actual island to work with. They had the location, they just didn't pick the best spots. I don't know if it was for safety reasons or if they just couldn't figure out how to shoot it. So this was actually how I described it on Letterboxd. A cheap shark movie that also doubles as a cheap zombie movie. It's good old-fashioned dumb fun, still cheap crap. Which sounds mean, but like I said, I personally gave it a 5 because I feel like with maybe a higher budget, this could have been a pretty good movie. And it's with that, we have to move on with, I don't know if I'd call it the worst one on the disc. Like I said, I watched all these before, but I'm not that excited to revisit it. I'm gonna skip through this next one a lot more just because of how boring it is. If you enjoyed what you saw, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video. Now this is the first video of a 5-video event, with one video going up every day through Friday. So I'll come back tomorrow for part 2. I'm Shyboy616, my trusty co-host Like a Shark the Land Shark. See you next time.